Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino Plays the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Episode 2. We left off right here where it was like, this is what being an Ace Attorney is all about. It was the perfect place to stop. I enjoyed that. We're still in the middle of this first trial, so let's just get right back into it, y'all. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there! He was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back! Yes. But I never fired the gun! All I did was pick it up off the floor! And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either?
Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure.
Treasure?
Indeed! The Oira Kuban, my prized coin! On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Razute.
In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you?
On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I proffered my Oi treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished.
The Koban vanished?
Hunting around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there, and then it happened.
You heard the gunshot, you mean?
Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Oi treasure. Nothing could distract me.
Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end?
No.
I see.
That lamentable day, the precious Oikoban was lost to me. No doubt, some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself.
He stole it for sure. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels, it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Aouchi? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo! What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear?
As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir.
Excuse me, but there's something, or someone, peeking out over your shoulder, I think.
Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Aido.
It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny.
Aido, Teen Shun. Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy.
Ew, so disgusting. Ew, stop that right now. Oh my god, babies. Alright, let's see what we have here. First, let me look at the core record again to see what we probably got to confuse this. Probably the business card. They just gave it to us. We probably have to use this. Okay, this is the kitchen. This is the entrance. This is where the victim sits, which means his back would be facing in this general direction. Okay. I don't know what to do with that yet, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see what they're talking about here.
Even if what I saw was at the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing!
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in black. That much I myself did see.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself.
Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
These testimonies are...
Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, Counsel? Oh.
Indeed. Of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident, as can plainly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print. It would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
They didn't have to be eating.
This doesn't make any sense.
The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record.
The photographic print of the crime scene has been entered into the court record.
A bottle of carbonated water. Ew. And a steak lunch can be seen on the victim's table.
Let me take a closer look at this.
Oh, I have magnifying glass. Ooh, look at that big, thick fork. Ooh, look how it just pops up at you. Ooh, you think you're working with something this small, and then you get the magnifying glass, and it's like, ooh, actually, that may just satisfy. Yeah, alright. Oh, but, okay, there's two places there. These tables have 4 chairs in them, according to this thing. So there's a little discrepancy there. Unless they just don't care about that. I don't know, we'll see.
I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman.
The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well.
But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him.
It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for a doubt until, you know, we tear them apart.
These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takatsuchi Auchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor.
How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule.
Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. Who said that? Oh, okay. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination.
I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick. Understood?
Rules can be so unbending at times.
I'm getting used to those sounds. I'm gonna be doing them all the time, apparently. Alright, yeah, show me what you're talking about with the true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. They haven't told me that I can press people yet, so I don't think that we do it yet. I feel like they would introduce it first. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in black. That much I myself did see. We don't have proof to counter that. Furthermore, visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Okay, indeed, alone he was the Englishman dining all by his... I mean, it's false, but we don't know why it's false. Or how it... Well, you know, we don't know what will prove that it's false. No, I mean, every single one of these lines is a lie. We just don't have proof. I think at this... Maybe now they're gonna tell us to press stuff. What do you think, Ryunosuke?
Oh.
What's the matter? I can't find anything. I can't find a clear discrepancy anywhere. I'm done for. I can't win this trial. No. No, no, no. Oh, wait, that's still me. Listen, the first thing to do is calm down. You can't expect witness statements to be full of holes every time. So just take your time and try to tease more information out of them first. What do you mean? You can choose to either press or present against each of the witness statements. If a witness is saying something you're suspicious about, press him on it with L1. With a little luck, you may get more details, which could prove to be crucial. Right, I see. The important point is, there's no sense in holding back. If anything even slightly jars with you, press the witnesses on it and press them hard. Alright, got it. I'll press them like blocks of tofu. The professor wasn't alone in the restaurant, I'm sure of it. And one way or another, this cross-examination is gonna prove I'm right. It's time to press them for all they're worth. My fate depends on it. Okay, so in that case, we could probably ignore the statements about me firing the gun and just press the ones where they say that no one else was there. So we skip those. Visual, yeah, this is where we press. You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there. As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. If only there had been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know. Of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Had a clinic? Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. That's probably Hota. 19th November, noon, to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder... What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence? Oh, better not. Just kidding.
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? On the fact that you just showed it to me. The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request.
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend.
Shut up. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record.
The victim's medical report card has been entered into the court record. Shut up, phone! Nobody cares?
I don't care that I've been given a complimentary stay at the Marriott Hotel for the 90th time this week, alright? Shut your mouth. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korekuta-san.
Indeed. Alone he was, the Englishman dining all... Okay, yeah, so let's take a look at our... new-fangled thing here. Medical report card from Hota Clinic that was found... Okay, well that doesn't actually help me right now. Unless I can look at it, and they won't let me look at it yet. Indeed, alone he was... Okay, I'm gonna press this one too. So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone.
That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in.
So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting?
Hold on. Why is my phone beeping? It was beep. Is it still beeping? It's not beeping anymore. Okay.
And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there is only a single beef steak on the victim's table, a meal for one.
No.
The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. Oh my god, dude, it's still beeping. Why is it beeping? This is very distracting. I feel like my phone's about to explode. It's the house phone. No, you know, it doesn't matter, but... Okay, no one other than the whatever could have dispatched the whatever. Over and out. Okay, I have to say we just start pressing every statement now. Why aren't you telling the truth?
What did you say, cadet?
I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed, but for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. That's right.
Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady.
But I...
If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof.
Oh my... Okay, that's it. I am pressing end call on this phone because someone is leaving a message that is just beeping.
Except that someone is on the phone, so I have no idea why it's beeping. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand landlines, dude.
And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time.
There's nothing I can say to that.
Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now.
Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light.
I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Ah, okay, now we're gonna get the actual information out of it. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence, so perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press X, and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use R to rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using L, you can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, ooh, sexy, press X to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. Alright, I'll do it right now. They won't let me do it right now. I gotta wait for you to stop talking about it. See if there isn't something new to be learnt by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use an X to inspect any areas of the evidence that look suspicious. Alright, let's do it. This is a stamp. It says Hota Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics, almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Okay. Medical report card required for every visit. Okay. Name Mr. John Wilson, Hota Clinic. Okay. It says Hota Clinic on this medical report card. Oh, okay. I thought we were looking at the stamp, but I guess we had just highlighted the name. Anyway. It looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago. It's probably a record of long-term treatment, that's why. With a family doctor, I imagine. Well, I can't imagine. Going to a doctor, I mean. As long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one. Well, if you were dead, there'd be no point. So you don't like doctors, then? Why would you? They make you drink horrible-tasting medicine, they give you painful injections, and then they demand lots of money from you for the privilege, all when you're at your lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. With a bad case of stubbornness, no less, for which the only cure is very bitter medicine indeed. Ooh, a healthy curiosity trophy. Alright, what is... Oh, you don't care about this thing? Okay, what about this? Let's have a look. Meanwhile, everyone else in the courtroom is just waiting patiently. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? Ooh, the one place setting at the table isn't his, because he can't eat after that shit. It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia.
although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The medical report card's information has been updated in the court record. Oh my god! With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Alright, now could you guys repeat exactly word for word what you said? Okay. Yes, pointing is yeah. Furthermore, visuals are we were the only person present. Indeed, Aloni was dining all by himself. This is where we say no, because he was not dining, in fact. Present!
Yes!
Well, I think, About what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer! I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in... Jesus Christ. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. All right, and thanks for the advice. Korekuta-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim.
I see. And I don't see. What of it, boy?
Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel.
But...
Let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant.
But that's... oh my god, just say what's on your goddamn mind! Say the words! Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could possibly have something.
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that?
Why, that outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hota Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted?
What's this now?
And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating.
Just what are you trying to say, cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what?
It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't.
Korekuta-san!
What, boy? What?
As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all.
No.
Additionally,
there's more?
You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case! Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner.
Objection! What is this nonsense? You little upstart! These are baseless accusations! Just look at this photographic evidence! You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
How dare you!
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke?
Yes, most definitely.
So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel?
Oh, that means me, doesn't it?
Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of.
Got it. So,
The person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been an as yet unknown third party, baby.
obviously it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection! You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
There was, because I saw her.
When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything, yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it.
Gah!
We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly.
Kazuma?
Are you insane? You would take on the government?
Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand.
What? What are you talking about?
We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury.
Perjury?
And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing.
Complicit in murder? No!
Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders.
That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they, told us. Oh.
What? What did you just say, Korikuta-san?
No.
You were just following orders?
Now hold on, lad. I was,
Say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas?
What?
Objection! What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one simple slip of the tongue!
Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not! The prosecution knows nothing of this!
Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut?
Well,
That's classified!
So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you?
You wouldn't. This can't be happening.
Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Aochi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? The military. That's why there's so many of them in here. If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh, yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait. Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing.
And what does the defense have to say about all this,
Well, Your Excellency... no time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head.
Okay, I guess we should look at the court record now. I don't know, there's military is written all over this. Like, the one witness is military. He talked about a tactical meeting, even though that could have just been, like, you know, a military, like, metaphor or whatever, you know, just to, like, be punny. And to keep in theme with what's going on. But there's a lot of military types in the court. Okay, well, let's examine everything carefully. Ah, the symbol of Yume University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like this spiked design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Although it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on their badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders. A sharp pin for a sharp mind or something? My personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a Yume student at the university. You may not come in, they say. Of course, you can get a new pin made if you can just tell them your number. I've actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere, but then I forget not to forget that. 000901. Because it's like upside down, but I don't know how to manipulate this thing to where it's like right side up. Oh, there we go. Now I'm good. Okay, let's examine. Here we go. Yeah, male British, time of death shortly after. Whatever, yeah, okay. Cause a single bullet fired at close range, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound. Okay, that doesn't help. Alright, there's nothing to examine here, so this isn't really anything. Let's try this. This plan of the restaurant raises a number of questions, I think. Definitely. It's supposed to show the relative position of everything in the moments following the incident. But there's nothing to show the woman you say you saw there. Exactly, and that's not all. Look here in the upper left, where it says kitchen. Oh yes, what of it? No one would use those complicated characters to write kitchen, especially not if they were in a hurry. You mean you don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Ryunosuke. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. This dude was undercover. Or something. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? Okay, never mind, it's the police. Or both. Or it's every single operating arm of the government. I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here... Okay, so I guess we will say police. I think that's everything we need. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... Satoru Hosonaga, baby. Yes. Well, surely that would be... Satoru Hosonaga-san! Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter.
What? If he truly were?
Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence. Waiter's business card. Right there, buddy. The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene?
Well...
Inspector Hosonaga!
I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility.
The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence.
Oh, well...
Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course. Here you are.
Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card.
I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So, you mean to say you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course! Your salary must be terrible!
I was working undercover.
Undercover?
Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover.
Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents?
That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide.
Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga. But you will elaborate on one point for the court.
Of course, Your Excellency.
We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct?
Correct, Your Excellency.
Unbelievable! As I suspected.
As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady whom I guessed to be an English woman.
So the truth comes out.
I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders.
Special orders? You mean to say...
Remove the English woman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the English woman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders.
But what if this English woman was the killer?
I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an English woman as the primary suspect. Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question.
So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case.
But it's not right!
One possibility does spring to mind.
What do you mean, Kazuma?
Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young English woman.
What?
You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour.
You mean...
When I removed that woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first.
Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector.
The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty.
What is happening here?
I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation.
Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. namely that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom.
Ah,
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes, sir.
you will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency.
At once, Your Excellency.
but that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly.
So, it won't be a problem?
Nothing will get in my way.
You got like cancer or something. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. Your Excellency.
Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening.
Ooh, very good. Perfectly spaced. To be continued indeed. That's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and I will see you guys next time.